Hello there. Welcome to Real Talk with Angry Soccer Mom. I'm excited to have you. If you're watching, please say hello. Don't be shy. Welcome to Real Talk with Angry Soccer Mom. And tonight's discussion topics, as always, are anything you feel is newsworthy about anti-racism, bigotry, inequality, and or corruption in America. And that means everything. So don't be shy, say hello. I want most of the show to be about what you have to say. So jump right in and please consider inviting a friend. All right. So welcome. And the show's meant to be an opportunity for people to speak their mind and also to serve as an educational tool in cultural competency with a focus on learning the truth about systemic racism in America. But we also cover corruption, inequality, and bigotry. So that's everything. So if you're there, please say hello. And I want to thank everyone profusely, especially this week, because I have to say, it was insanity. It's how many things were happening. If you want to talk to me personally or privately, please write to me here. That's my page on Facebook. And write to me whatever you want, and I will get back to you. If it's a long conversation, I'll give you my phone number and we can chat. All right. This is not, how do I say it, a hobby of mine. It's kind of a lifestyle. So I want to get to know anybody and everybody who's interested. The show is meant to be a way to kind of cathartic about what's going on. A lot of us may live in areas where there's a bunch of kind of fake liberals, or maybe people are tired and sick and tired of talking about this topic. T, welcome. Yay. Tomax, hi. Thank you for being here. Awesome. And if you're tired of talking about it, then if people are tired around you talking about it, come to me and we'll talk, because I'm never tired of talking about it. It's really, really important. So welcome. And if you want to call in the show later on after a couple announcements, I will put the number right here. And remember, you don't have to be some sort of PhD in the field. You don't have to be an expert or outgoing and a great, orator. You just have to be you to call in. I'm not looking for famous people. I'm looking for the people, and we're all the people. So don't feel shy to call in. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. If you knew how shy I was, you would never think twice, all right? Because I want to know what you think. It's a gift to me and to the audience. And if there are white folks in the audience watching, what you have to understand is there's no, Black, brown, and indigenous people have no responsibility to educate us in what's right and human. So anytime a person who's not white speaks from their heart about racism or bigotry or anything, it's a gift. So we need to listen. And that's how you learn. I mean, that's absolutely how I've learned most things. So welcome. Tonight, I was going to have a friend call in and talk about some very interesting aspects of liberalism, but he's going to come on next week instead. So we can go right on to videos of the week. My other topic I have planned, which you can talk about anything you want. These are just things I have planned. I have solutions for saving our democracy. I hope they're good enough. And Durante Martin's death. That's something really, really current. And I don't know, it might be me, but are things just starting to add up and getting bad exponentially? I'm hearing more and more horror stories here and there, just little things here, there, and everywhere. It's a little bit distressing. The other thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is the governor of Missouri pardoning racists, but not pardoning someone who's been wrongly imprisoned. Yes, it's just horrible, says Tolanda. Yeah, I kind of, if I'm to be really candid, and this is real talk, right? I had about 15 things I could talk about today on here with people, and plus anything you all want to talk about. There's too much happening, sadly. So if you believe like I do that it is way past time for white America and people who are in numerical majority groups to start educating themselves. If you've never met a friend who's Muslim American, then find one and meet one and become friends. If you've never met a person who's African American, reach out and try to become friends. Not for something to be fake and kind of goofy and weird, but because everybody has something to offer that's worthwhile. And if you don't, and you only stick to your own, so to speak, you are limiting yourself to a life of fear, and you're missing out on amazing people. So you just don't be afraid. Just reach out. And if they reject you, try another person. It's up to us to educate ourselves. Okay, white folks, it's up to us. So on that lovely note, I want to read a quick, I see a comment. Tolanda, I'm not even comfortable leaving my house. We work from home now on our home and homeschool our kids. T, I don't blame you one bit. I have to admit, and this is just a terrible thing to even think about, but I get fearful letting my youngest go, find her independence. And a lot of white folks are saying, oh, you're so, you're just ridiculous. You make everything about racism. And the thing is it's the unknown. I don't know who would like to harm my child if they could get their hands on her. I don't know. And it's a really scary thing. And so I find myself being incredibly overprotective, and it's not healthy. But I can't help it. This is my baby. Clifton, welcome. Long time sub. I just wanted to say that thousands should be watching you. Oh, you are so nice. Thank you so much. Should be following, but it shows how special and unique people like you are. And thank you. Thank you. That, oh my God, you have no idea how much I needed that. Thank you so much. That means the world to me. I have no qualms about, I don't think I'm not trying to be some famous person who gets all this attention, but if I can do one thing that's good in my life, maybe I can reach out and get someone to care and get someone to think twice, and maybe someone else will get them to think again and again. But Clifton, you made my night. Thank you so much. Thank you. Haru, the Duke of the Great Lakes, for you to have only 3 people watching, that's scary numbers for good white people. Yeah, Haru, you know what? It's really tough, because I had a time when I was getting tons and tons of people and it was going great. And then I don't know what happened. It just kind of went down. The summer is a really tough time, but I always do these, and I usually get 100 or 2 in like repeat customers that come back for just watching it in replays or whatever. But thank you so much. That gives me a lot of confidence. I have to admit, I'm human. Sometimes I go, you know what? Maybe I'm just not good at this. I doubt myself all the time. But you know what? It's not about me. And that's the thing. I always have to kind of slap myself and go, hello, it's not about me. It's about the chance to maybe get some white folks to care. And so I appreciate you being here. Thanks to you. It's interesting. It's kind of hit or miss. Yeah, you know what? We do. Clifton, we do. And part of the thing is, some of my distant family members, T, you are so sweet. Oh my God, you guys, I'll never stop. I just can't. I will never stop until we wipe this off the face of the earth. And if I take my last breath, I take my last breath then, and I'll know I did the best I could for me personally. I wish people would listen. So mostly what I do on my live shows is we talk about racism. A lot of us don't have people to talk to about racism, especially white folks. And if you're white and you think this does not impact you, tell me about the color of the skies in your world, because it does, either unconsciously, consciously, or all of the above. We're living in a world where we have normalized having some groups matter more than others. And that's sick. If you think about it, is that really the world you want to leave to your children? Where your kids have to kind of wonder who's the bad guy, who would like to harm them, who would like to take away their human rights, who would like to do whatever they want to them, all because they don't have the same tone of skin. They don't have the same amount of active melanin in their body as someone else. That's just goddamn ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And so if you have an audience of any type, learn, if you're white, learn to find your voice and practice and get an audience of some sort. Some of us are a little obsessed with it, but I don't care. I found my people when I figured out, when I was like, 12, 18, when I was 18 years old, I found out, you know what? I thought it was me. I thought I was like, why am I seeing this world as so sick and cruel? And everyone else is pretending they don't see it. Well, I hung around a lot of white people. And so I finally went to school and figured out that it's not me. It's our culture. So don't for 1 minute ever think it's you. If you're noticing racism and feeling like, oh my God, what is going on? This is not how life's supposed to be. I know it in my heart. Okay, preaching over. Let me take some comments. Let me see. Cliff, thank you so much. Oh my God, you are so good for my ego. Thank you. Haru, the Duke of Great Lakes. If you were ignorant, I think the views would be like, you know what? I swear, people do enjoy that. It could be right. I'm kind of, once in a while I'll get trolls, and I'll get like 1,000 trolls on at one time. It's so telling. This nation has never accepted our Constitution, basically our new and improved one that says that, hello, everybody is supposed to matter, you idiot. Not you personally, but proverbial idiot. Okay, let me see. You are too kind to me. But I want to know what you think. You're very, very sweet. You don't know how much I needed this. I stumbled upon her channel one day, and I've been here ever since, but I'm at work on break now. Oh, Clifton, you are wonderful. Thank you so much. You made my day. You can go back to work. Your work is done. Thank you. And T, you too. And Haru, thank you so much for your caring. My hope is that after the live show, lots of white folks will watch. And I do get people watching. And a lot of people stay silent. And that's great. I had to learn, and Mako, yay, welcome. And I stayed silent. Oh, I stayed silent for I got to tell you a really quick story, and then I'll keep going, because I want to get into the content. And a little message from Colonel Crumlin, who I think does a guitar show tonight, so he can't be here. I'll get you, Colonel Crumlin. Okay, when I first got on to Facebook, I guess it was. By the way, I'm kicked off for life, but I kind of sneak in the back to get on. When I first went on Facebook, I watched for 3 years. Yes, I was so shy. I watched and read and watched. I was like, this is so cool. I'll never write anything. One day I liked something. I was like, okay, press a button. Ding. Okay. And then I'm like, okay, I did it. Sweating, Okay. 3 years later, I wrote a comment. Thank you, T. I'm still devastated to this day. They never told me why. I mean, we know why, but they never warned me. They never put me in jail. But anyway, enough about me. I'll just finish my all about me story, and we can go on. I'm honestly, it kills me on so many levels. We'll talk. But so where was I? So then I got this great confidence because I liked something. I mean, this is how bad I was. And then I wrote a comment, and it was an innocent comment. I wrote an innocent comment, and somebody got really mad, and so I erased it. I deleted it. So my first act on Facebook was basically deleting something, because I was like, oh my God, somebody hit it. And then I started like getting more bold, and then I kept things that people didn't agree with. And I was like, and here I am today. So it was kind of crazy. But I love catharting with people. I don't know how people live this. I'm lucky I don't have to live this. I can pretend. What? I don't even see color. Sorry, don't go there. But I can pretend that nothing's wrong. But I actually can't, so I won't. But I'm just saying, it's different for me. I don't have to live it. It's a choice. And that is so incredibly unfair. TikTok, easier on my phone, doesn't even like. Oh my gosh. So anyway, thank you so much for your kindness, everybody. I appreciate it. So a message from, and this is kind of, preaching to the choir, but a message from Colonel Don Crumlin. And that's what we see with a lot of white people that they pretend. Yeah, oh, yes, they do. And it is, I am so over that. I know that's like weird for hearing it from a white person, but even white folks are like, this is bullshit. I'm done. I'm sick of this. This is not the world I wanted my kids to live in. This is not, make it about us. We can be selfish too, very selfish. And I think this is not what I wanted for my life or for yours or for your children or for mine. And so I figure someday maybe we'll be able to unite together and make this crazy, insane culture stop. I dream of a day, every night I dream of a day where systemic racism is in some old dusty book on top of some shelf that people look and go, what? How barbaric. I mean, just like we think of gladiators in ancient Roman and Greek times, like they just are appalled. I dream of that time, and I hope that humankind can make it that far, and that someday somebody sees that in a book and thinks, oh my God, how barbaric, because that's what it really is. It's not progressive to think systemic racism is barbaric. It's not. It's called being human, and there's no excuse. So, okay, I'm done. Preach over. This is what Don says. Thanks, T. This is what, oh my God, I can't even believe I said that. I dream of it. Okay, I got you, T. Now I'm like embarrassed. I can't show my face. Okay. All right. I mean, I really dream. Like at night, I sit in bed and think of people walking on the street. And anyway, I'll tell you about it later. I'm going to get all emotional. I'll watch later. Thanks, Clifton. You're awesome. That was great to have you. Good luck with work. Okay. So, this is from Colonel Don. Don't shoot the messenger, but it's a good message. It's a scary message, so be prepared. A message from Colonel Don. I don't think he knows I'm reading this, but he gave me permission. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but here's my latest nerd report. Nerd report. It's not a nerd report. The document I wrote in April projecting the importance of the vaccination and the consequences of not complying has turned out to be mild versus current reality. I've posted the latest WebMD article on all my Facebook business pages. The bottom line, Delta version of COVID is several times deadlier than COVID-19 and much more contagious. Unvaccinated people are at risk, but everyone can get it or be a carrier. Now, I know most people know this, but if you don't, or if you know people that won't, we all know somebody who won't get, and I get it, and there are reasons, and there are good reasons, but as long as they're making their decision with the facts. In all 50 states, but hitting the red states with the lowest vaccination percentage is very, very hard. There are 2 additional variants that are even deadlier than the Delta variant, Epsilon and Lambda. I guess the Greek letter thing is what we call these things. I didn't quite catch on to the Delta one, but I'm with us now. Many have heard of Lambda, but Epsilon is deadlier and more widespread, according to Colonel Crumlin, who is pretty spot on with this stuff. As I predicted in my April document, the current vaccination is 95% effective against COVID-19, but only 88% effective against the Delta. And you can drop another 15 to 20% for Epsilon and then for Lambda as well. It's no joke. It's time to mask up everywhere for everyone and get as close to lockdown as you can, whatever you do. By the way, this applies to all age groups. Take care and God bless. And that was from Don Crumlin. And I appreciate him giving us the best he has of updates. Her, the Duke of the Great Lakes, white supremacy needs to be locked away and labeled with caution tape. Oh, that is 100% yes. I could go on and on. Absolutely. Excellent advice. Clifton, I'll watch later. Oh, okay, I read that. All right, so today in history. Today in history, actually, Anastasia called me today, and she reminded me that I guess this was, and if I'm not right about something, you can just jump right in. I'm here to learn too. At the last minute, I just looked this up because I did not realize it was today where they found the slain workers' bodies in 1964, August 4th. And I'll just read this quickly for those of us who may not be familiar with this if we watch it later when it's not live. The remains of 3 civil rights workers who disappeared on June 21st got national attention. as they were found buried in an earthen dam near Philadelphia. It says Philadelphia, Mississippi. I guess that's a place. I don't know that. Michael Schwimmer and Andrew Goodman, both white New Yorkers, had traveled to the heavily segregated Mississippi in 1964 to help organize civil rights efforts on behalf of the Congress of Racial Equality, CORE. The third man, James Chaney, was a local African-American man who had joined CORE in 1963. The disappearance of the three men led to a massive FBI investigation that was codenamed MI Burn for Mississippi Burning. And if you know the story of these three, it is pretty much your worst nightmare as a human being. Basically, people work together to murder these three do-gooders, and it's a horrible, horrible story. And I'm sorry, it has relevance today. So I wanted to bring that up because we just can't seem to cut ties with our love affair with systemic racism in America. And and kids are still going to school. Yeah, you know what? I just thought about it today, and I mentioned it to my family. This might be I don't want to do this. This might be another year where we stay home. I don't know what else to do. This is crazy. I hope not, because boy, our little guys, big kids can probably handle it. It's really tough being isolated, but our little guys, they need socialization. They need to be taught, and it's crazy. I'm thinking the same thing. So for today's show, I'm just going to quickly go over some videos that I posted, and I want to know what you guys think. Tell me. And if you don't agree with me, that's absolutely perfectly fine. You don't have to agree with me. I want to know what you think. Okay. So, it's tough for the little ones. T, I know you get preschoolers, right? Is that special education preschool? And they need the socialization. And you know what? The big ones do too. It's just, I just can't imagine. I was a reading specialist when I was in school, and when I was a teacher in special ed. And I can't imagine parents trying to teach their children to read unless their kids are really catching on easily. Because if not, you need a teacher. You need someone who knows what they're doing, is very systematic about it. And I can't imagine what 4, 5, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds parents are doing. But anyway, the videos of the week. Well, I've done it all. Now I'm online ESL and tutoring. Excellent. Very, very nice. I know you have a big repertoire of expertise. I just can't imagine the little kids, and the parents who are not teachers. Oh my God. So today's videos I put up, I started with the Poor People's Campaign, because they had a march to various places ending in DC, where 300, or about 300, I didn't get the exact count, people were arrested. It was the Poor People's Campaign. So the Poor People's Campaign was my first video. I want to quickly go over their demands. And there's a lot of demands. And I'm pretty sure I agree with every damn one of them. And I want to know what you think. If you agree with these demands, they're reasonable. They are, I think in America, we don't know enough about other countries, and our progressive isn't progressive. It's normal. It's called being a human being. So we find, these things so progressive, but I don't know, to me and a lot of other people, they're just human rights. We live in a wealthy nation, yet too many people are living as if we live in an incredibly impoverished nation. That's not right. It's just not right. And for me personally, I don't want to see my neighbor starving because they have no food. I don't want to see my neighbor die because they can't afford their penicillin. For the love of God, that's sick. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to see people suffering around me so I can say, yay me, I'm not. That's sick. So the Duke of Great Lakes, it's funny how knows everything about COVID-19. After the so-called outbreak, all of a sudden, UM is in control. What's UM? I know I'm supposed to know, but what's UM? United. I feel like I'm out of the loop here. UM. And I know it'll be something I'm totally supposed to know. Like United Nations. Oh, America. Oh, United. Thank you. I knew I was supposed to know that. I'm like, what? Yeah. Well, it's interesting. A couple of videos I did spoke directly to just how much we already knew way ahead of time. At the time, I worked for a company in China. Trump and his clan's people were spewing lying bullshit to the public. My students were telling me all about it. Literally, my students online who are adults and children in China, it's a company I work for, were telling me about COVID-19. While this man is basically pretending he's never been warned. Anyway, don't even get me started. I did a ton of videos on that. It's disgusting. So here are the demands of I'm going to reel these off. Don't hate on me. I'm going to talk fast. Here are the people's demands for the Poor People's Campaign, the Reverend and Dr. Park. Let me see. Hang on a second. Okay, here are the people's demands, and I'm going to speak about this. Okay. Poor people's demands. We demand federal and state living wage laws. We demand the right for all workers to join and form unions. We demand equal pay for equal work. We demand a guarantee for annual income. We demand fully funded anti-poverty programs. We demand expansion of Medicaid in every state and single-payer universal health care for everyone, like all the other Western nations have and some nations that are still developing. We demand restoration of the Voting Rights Act. Hello, remember the Voting Rights Act that was supposed to protect mostly people in formerly very, very racist states? They gutted it in 2013. They took away the meaningful part of it where states could not change their rules unless it was first federally allowed ahead of time. Now they do whatever the hell they want to basically make sure that people can't vote. That Voting Rights Act is imperative that we get it back in full. We demand early registration for 17 and 18-year-olds. We demand a reversal of the laws that prevent municipalities from raising the minimum wage. We demand a right to end mass incarceration. We demand a clear and just immigration system, including a timely citizenship process for people in DACA. It's torturous what they're doing to them. I have some friends who are DACA recipients. We demand Alaska and Native Americans retain their tribal recognition as a nation, not as a race. We demand decent housing. We demand relief in crushing student and consumer debt. We demand equity in education and end to resegregation of public schools. We demand free tuition for public universities and colleges, like many, many Western nations have. And we demand an end to the profiteering of student debt. We demand equitable funding for historically Black colleges and universities. That is criminal that we don't have that. We demand the repeal of the 2017 federal tax law, lowering taxes for the wealthiest elites in America. Disgusting. We demand that wealthy people and corporations pay their fair share. We demand an end to military aggression and warmongering. We demand a stop of the privatization of the military budget and any increase in military spending. We demand a ban on assault rifles and the easy access of firearms. So anyone who wants to shoot someone can just get a gun and do it. We demand an end to federal programs that send military equipment into local and state communities. We demand and call to build the end of building a wall on our southern border. We demand that fracking, mountaintop removal, and offshore drilling and coal mining be stopped. We demand a ban on all new pipelines, refineries, gas and coal terminals. We demand that the war on the poor stops. And okay, I'm done. That's all the demands. They have a lot of demands. I agree with every last one of them. There is no excuse. We are used to thinking if we're poor or if we're struggling to make ends meet, if you're middle class or middle upper class, it does not matter. If you're struggling to make ends meet and you're working your butt off, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. If you work, eat, and sleep in a nation that is supposed to boast liberty and justice for all, and we're wealthy, but not all of us. Some of us are getting wealthy while the rest are going down. And we're letting this happen because, some of us think someday maybe we too will be millionaires and billionaires. Well, you know what? Lots of luck with that. Not with this system. It's not going to happen. The rich are getting richer, and everyone else is going down for the most part. Let me take some comments. Tonight's probably going to be a little bit of a short show, but I'm thrilled for people who are here. Let me see. Haru, the Duke of Great Lakes, the debunk is Ed Snowden warned us that America is spying on everyone, meaning America's knew about COVID, if not made it themselves. Yeah, I don't think we made COVID ourselves, but we absolutely knew ahead of time. That's definitive. That's not a guess. That's factual. Oh my God. Watch my video on just what we know. I have like a video that talks about, it's a really short video. It talks about probably 7 different huge warnings we've had about COVID. Plus anyone who talks to China, hello. Like I said, I used to work for a company in China, and I knew something was very, very much happening. While our nation, the leaders of our nation were pretending, we just don't know. They talk about being full of shit, full of crap. I'm going to get kicked off for saying all these bad words, but it's the truth. We knew. You know who I'm talking about, did nothing. He did nothing. And don't even get me. I don't even want to talk about him. He knew and he did nothing. And I have a ton of videos on it. If you want me to post them later, I'd be more than happy to. Let me see. The way America represents the Constitution and justice is living proof whites did not write. Tell me what you mean by that. I'm not sure what you mean by whites didn't write it, because supposedly these founding fathers wrote it, and most people kind of go with that. Tell me more. I want to know what you're talking about. Okay. And absolutely, they don't believe it. Here's the problem. If you study the founding fathers closely, you'll notice that the founding fathers, for the most part, actually did believe in liberty and justice for all. They just couldn't stand up and have the integrity to personally employ these type of ideologies. They believed and they knew it was right. If you go to DC, you can read the Jefferson Memorial. It basically says inside the Jefferson Memorial, pretty much, and I'm paraphrasing, please understand. Yes, I know slavery is absolutely wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway. I mean, essentially, obviously, that's quite a stretch of paraphrase, but basically, they knew. Of course they knew. And they knew also that someday, because of the incredible document that they wrote, that once the people got their head out of their you-know-whats, that we would push for that. And there's so many theories. One theorist that I read a little bit about thinks that that's one of the reasons for the actual Revolutionary War, is that they saw England and other nations ending enslavement of human beings. So there's a lot to talk about with that. But yeah, they believed it. They just weren't human enough. And not all of them, because I know Adams didn't have enslaved humans. They weren't human enough to actually walk the walk. They could talk about it, and they could write a document that would allow it to happen eventually. No comment. I'm not going to go into that. The question is, can you be a brilliant, brilliant person and still have unscrupulous and personal integrity? I'm going to say, oh, hell yes. So I think that's what we're... why are the founding fathers hidden? Tell me more. Yes, I am aware of the Iroquois Constitution. Oh, is that what you mean? They didn't write it. They've pulled from... Yes. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. I know, and they've pulled from a lot of places for our Constitution. They wrote it. It wasn't... A lot of it was maybe not their own original thought, or original thought that came together as a group. I'm not sure what you're getting at, but I'm guessing you're saying that they pulled ideologies from all over the place, which of course, there are very few things that, I won't get into the history of it, but they did do the Great American Experiment was one of the originals of what they were trying to accomplish. not having personal human and individual rights. And that's a whole another story, rather than having gods as the leaders. So they should, oh, Mr. F.S. Black, welcome. They should, the founding fathers should have an asterisk next to each of their names whenever mentioned. Yeah, it's really a hard thing. People like to think in terms of A to Z, black and white, light and dark. They don't want to have gray areas, and life is so full of gray areas. And it pains us to think of these gray areas, that somebody could actually, let's just put it this way. Even the worst mass murderers probably did the dishes if their wife asked them to. Okay, I'm just saying, it doesn't mean they're great, amazing humans because they did the dishes when, it was their turn. People are complex. People are complex, and it's very hard to talk about. You're saying that Native people wrote it, right? Well, we can definitely get into that. I see what you're saying. Okay, gotcha. Let me back up for a second. I think I get what you're saying. You should call in if you want to. Feel free to call in, because it's sometimes when you have to write so much, it's just really hard to say what you're trying to say. Let me see. Backed up. I skipped so many people. Sorry about that. They don't believe in free and just. Okay. China is furious with us. Oh, absolutely. I'm sure. China has every single person in their country mandated to learn English, by the way, and have been doing that for a couple of years now. It's just saying. Not that they are the competition. I think we have enough internal problems that we need to have a giant mirror in front of us, and maybe don't look out for a while and maybe look within. Just my take. You don't have to agree, but the Chinese government doesn't want us teaching their children. I don't agree with it, but our reputation with them over the past 4 years has not been good. What's really interesting is and tell me what you think, because you said you were doing some work. I don't know if you're working with children from China or adults from China or anything like that, but they have an obsession with the West. They want to know about it. They think it's cool. They're way into our products. China in general, and this is a very big generalization from what I've learned over the last couple of years working for this company, they're really good at differentiating between the government and the people, because even though their government is becoming more westernized, whereas they can have their own individual businesses now a little bit, and there's some really good things for their freedoms going on, and also a few horrific things, but over the years, they understand that the idea that, for example, people say, I hate Iranians. Well, it's like, you don't even know Iranian people, so be quiet. You do not. You hate what their government is doing. Are the people in charge of their government? Do they have total control? Do we have total control of our government? I say, hell no, of course not. So, but Americans always seem like they hate the people. We hate the Chinese. Well, give me a break. They have probably less, or I'm not sure, equal or whatever control that each of us have. Why would we hate them? We can hate their government, but don't hate them. They're human beings with not a lot of power, just like us. So that's just my take. But yeah, I hear you. Let me go back. Let me see. But yeah, and I don't know what you think of this, but my guys really wanted to be with an American teacher. They just thought it was cool. I have no idea why, but they always wanted to, we're not allowed to talk politics, but they always wanted to ask questions, and it's kind of funny. You'll see them with Disney stuff, and they love Frozen the movie, and they love all this. It's kind of interesting. Let me just back it up and take some comments. If I skip you, don't hate on me. Copy and paste down below, okay? Because what happens every time I get a backlog, it scrolls and I can't tell where I was before. The problems with talking. Okay. Let me see. Mr. F.S. Black. Okay, founding fathers should have asked her. Okay. Cut and paste. We wrote it. Okay. They only want bilingual Chinese people to teach the kids in English now. Interesting. That's not my that wasn't my experience. But again, I was working with people in actual China, not in the US. So they weren't, the people I worked with were not Americans. They were Chinese folks. So tell me more. That's an interesting take. T. Oh, Anastasia, welcome. Yay, happy to have you. Oh my gosh. T. It's a big thing that is happening right now. All of those Chinese ESL companies are folding. Really interesting. The Duke of Great Lakes, the people who wrote the Constitution identity were reclassified to Black, Negro, African American. Oh, I see what you're saying. I gotcha. Okay. Anastasia, I'm not advocating for China, but Malcolm X said only a fool would allow their enemy to teach their children. Right. It's interesting. I get what you're saying. I just don't look at it personally. I understand as a nation, yes, they're the enemy, I suppose, but I don't look at it that way at all. And not like, oh, I'm so great. I just don't. I can't. Borders are human made. Sorry, can't do it. And I know you get what I'm saying. No, it's a whole new policy the Chinese government just passed. Because I actually, interesting, because the company that I worked for, oh my God, they begged for American tutors. Very interesting. Yeah, maybe something's changed. I've only been not working with them for like a month, maybe a month or so recently. Interesting. Well, I know when they make a change, it's the entire country. So let me see. So those were all the demands that the Poor People's Campaign made. I agree with pretty much every single one of them. I think the average American expects practically nothing from our nation, and the wealthy are getting more wealthy and everyone else is struggling in general. And the divide between the richest and the poorest is just getting larger and larger. Supposedly it's the biggest we've ever had it in a century. I don't know if that's a fact. I saw it once from a reliable source. Normally I try to check things a couple times. The VIP Kids, Magic Ears, all those companies. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, because I've worked for those guys for one of those companies for quite a long time. And I was booked. Anastasia, I was in DC with, were you? I did not know that. Do you have any footage from that? I was in DC with them and it was amazing. Linda Sarsour, Jesse Jackson, Reverend Barber was there. I put up 2 or 3 different videos on it on my YouTube channel. That is awesome. I wish I could have gone so badly. I wish I could have been there. Didn't really want to get arrested, but did you get arrested? You don't have to tell me if you don't want to, but I saw the crowds. I took Roland Martin's, he did an hour and 40 minutes. He did an hour and 40 minutes of a video on the culmination. Oh my God, I gotta get those from you to put on my YouTube if you don't mind. I would love to show people. I want to make people aware of this. It's something everybody can get into. Hello. Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Hi, thanks for calling in. So you went there?
So I was there, ma'am, and it was amazing.
Oh my God. That's
so
awesome.
it was really amazing. There was a lot of people there. It was different states there, different organizations. Everybody was there.
Good.
But the reason why I called is because talking about getting arrested.
Yes.
So I want to be clear about certain things in regards of getting arrested, right? It's not being arrested how they were doing Black Lives Matter over George Floyd.
Yeah.
So basically, you register and say, hey, I want to be a part of the direct action. So this is the second one I was a part of, right? So you get an armband, and they put all the people that are going to be arrested in front with the armband. So then we march to where we're going to march at, and then they march to where they're going to do the direct action, which is probably in the middle of the street. But what ends up happening is I'm pretty sure they've made coordination because everywhere they march, there were police there already waiting at both marches, the women's march and for this march, that this moral Monday that they
Moral
did.
Monday. Yep,
So
I posted it all over.
So then what happens, huh?
I posted Moral Monday all over my YouTube and Facebook page.
Right. So what happens is the police, like all the streets are cut off, right, to where they're going. And so then what happens is they go to where they're going to do the direct action. And they tell you before you start marching, are you a part of the direct action or are you a supporter?
On the side.
So everybody knows, right. So everybody knows. So then what happens is we make like a horseshoe around them or whatever the case may be. They stand where they're going to stand. The police chief, which is the same police chief that I'm pretty sure it's a black female, she announces, you are in violation of blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. This is your first warning. Then she gives a second warning. Then she gives a third warning. So then what happens is, this one was about 500 people. So they're not marched off, but like they're marched off. They get their ticket, and that's it. So I just wanted to let you understand it's a ticket, it's a citation. It's not what they were doing to Black Lives Matter.
Right. Thank you for that.
Reverend Barbara. Yeah. I'm sorry?
Thank you for that, because when I watched Roland Martin and some of the other coverage, they weren't crystal clear like that. I could tell everyone was in line. I could tell it was very prearranged. There was a registration over here.
Yes.
But it was hard to tell.
Right.
Are they taking them to jail or are they?
No, they're not taking them to jail. What happens? See, this is the thing. Depending on where you're at, like they're probably not in this situation and not in the other one, the Moral Monday that I went to. They processed them right there. So we were able to see everybody. Like they weren't taken in a paddy wagon or anything.
Right.
I'm not saying that hasn't happened before.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm saying in the 2 times I was there, they take them right there. The marshals, they have marshals around, like road guards, to tell you, hey, you need to move back here or they're going to try to arrest you.
Yep.
So it's people out there protecting the people that are not getting. I took my 2 daughters out there. My daughters are 13 years old. They were out there with me.
Oh,
and
wow.
So that's what I'm not saying every time it's going to be like that. I'm just saying certain things are worth being arrested for.
Absolutely.
That's just point blank and simple.
Absolutely. And I'm so thrilled you clarified that, because I'm going to post what I'm trying to do while you're telling everybody. I'm going to post up the 2 videos onto here that I took. So if you want to see what went on, I took little snippets and made it into like a 3-minute thing. But it looked amazing. How long did you stay out there? They were out there a long time, huh?
We stayed out there until they got arrested, because what happens is there's music, like
singing.
There's music. People are singing. You have, in the Army we used to call them cadence callers, but you had cadence callers.
Yes, I
saw.
So
every couple of feet you have somebody with a bullhorn saying different chants.
Absolutely.
Then you have water and snacks and stuff like that. Like we always have the best protest. We bring snacks. So it was wonderful. And like I said, there were little kids out there. It wasn't a situation like early on how it was like, we're going to come out here and we're going to show you that you have no First Amendment rights.
Right.
You're peons.
Yep.
You're plebes.
Yep.
You don't have a right to complain. It wasn't like that.
It was very orderly.
Course, people complain. I'm sorry?
It was very orderly, I saw. Very orderly.
Right. It was very orderly. Mm-hmm. And so what it is that the only people, like for instance with the Women's March, the only people that spoke were women. So this time, the only people that spoke was clergy and low-paid workers.
I saw that it was very obvious he said he wants just the clergy and just, it was very specific.
Right. Like because how sometimes they'll come up there, these lawmakers will come up there and be performative and then, say your little speech and that's it. And then vote against minimum wage.
Right.
And they weren't happy. They weren't having it. I'm going to tell you that right now. They weren't having it.
I could tell.
Yeah, Senator Warnock was out there. And he was like, nope, not you either.
Yep.
So, like I said, if he was there for you, one day you should go. Because they're going to, the direct actions that they were doing before, it was for 3 years. So this thing that's going on right now is going to go on for years. But the other thing that I love about Reverend
I'll meet you there.
Barbara and the Poor People's Campaign is a convergence of interest.
Yes.
If you ever noticed and you heard him talking, I think it was on a Rachel Maddow's show, and he said we never mention certain things. Because if we just say poor people is across the board. And then people that may not be Black, may not be this, they're not going to say, oh, this is just for Black people. No, this is for all poor people. This is for all, low-wage workers. This is for all. So it's more of a convergence of interest, like Martin Luther King was talking about. That's how he got a lot of people
uniting
from the letters from the Birmingham jail.
Because
remember, he told Lagarde, he was like, "Yeah, you need to be over here with me."
We have a common plight.
Exactly.
We have a common plight. Let me tell you, Anastasia. A guest that I was going to have on tonight a little bit as a call-in is going to come on next week, and he has some interesting. He's a little more militant than most, which is fine. I want to have voices of everybody, not just people who are like all chill and calm. And he is very interested in the Poor People's Campaign as I am. He knows more about it as well. Obviously, you do as well. And he's concerned about things like having to not mention race because he feels it's acquiescing. I won't speak for him. Acquiescing to white feelings and tender feelings and sensitivities. And I gotta tend to agree, but it's really sad in my mind that white folks don't understand that we are not actually benefiting from this racism that we uphold. And us being afraid to say the R word is really our own demise, really is. But go on. I don't want to interrupt.
The issue is I understand exactly what he's saying. It's kind of like the women's movement that we're not going to mention that Black women make less than white women.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, no, we got to, you understand that when we're doing the women's feminist movement, we're not going to involve trans women.
Right. We're not going to quote
then you're not talking
women.
about.
Yeah, exactly. You're not talking about women's march. You're talking about a white straight women's march.
Right. And
absolutely.
Exactly. And then the situation where the other Moral Monday that we had was on the anniversary of a convention for women's suffrage, but Black women weren't invited to that.
It's
and
ridiculous.
A lot of time with the women's suffrage movement, we know Ida B. Wells, Sojourner Truth, and all these other women, were told they need to go to the back of the march, and that was an anniversary of that, and that's what they were saying, that we have to have a convergence of interest. Like, look, if you, for instance, you and I talked about this one time when when they was going to desegregate the schools, right? So you're just going to shut the whole school down. Now your poor white children can't go to that school either.
Right.
Or the pools when they...
the pools, we tend to... I know exactly what you mean. We tend to do this, even if it's against our own best interest, just so we can keep this air of supremacy that is completely baloney. We'll hurt our own selves first. It's unbelievable.
Right. And then a lot of it is conditional. So what your guest is talking about, I totally agree. Why can't we mention that? Why do we have to do this? Everybody, you know what I'm saying? What does it say? A wave pulls everybody up? No, it actually doesn't. Because if you're not even on the boat, what are you talking about?
Right.
I'm still at the bottom of the sea.
Right.
You're on the boat. You may not be on a good part of the boat, but you're on the boat.
Right.
So Black women, especially Black trans women, are at the bottom of the sea when it comes to a hierarchy or caste system. And so just like you noticed with Nancy Pelosi when she said the situation about the college, you can say that because you're a millionaire, but you don't have a problem paying for corporations. You don't have a problem with bailing out Wall Street. That just shows exactly how detached you are from your constituents. And she is a rich white woman.
Right.
We're not her audience that she's talking to. And that's what happens. And when he's talking about not being able to mention it, why shouldn't I be able to mention that as a Black woman, I only get like, what, 66 cents?
For every,
so a white woman, 77. Yeah.
Yep. And you know,
exactly.
Something else to mention, Anastasia, is to remind our audience tonight, which most people probably know, is that when Frederick Douglass was getting his rights, you know, to vote as a Black man, white women were not supportive. They were kind of obnoxious, actually, and that's very telling. We haven't changed one bit.
Right. But they said that. I forget who it was. I don't want to name a name, but it's one of those white suffragists, and she was like that. It's not right for the slave to get rights to vote before his mistress.
Exactly.
And that's how they work. That's exactly how they work. That's why you can remember all these people, but you don't know any much of the Black suffragists.
You need to know the details.
Like I was saying,
you need to know the details.
I'm sorry?
We need to know the details. I have a video on exactly that. And we need to know the details.
Right. And just like with the situation with the Women's March, right? And I don't know if you've seen it, but it was a picture of it was a white woman with a little pink hat on. But it was a Black woman that was standing right next to her. You know the picture I'm talking about?
I do.
Right. And she said a lot of these women voted for Trump.
Yep.
So Trump didn't affect you until it affected something you want, which was abortion.
Mm-hmm.
That's what your one issue was. Other than that, what he was doing to immigrants, what he was doing with undocumented immigrants, what he was doing with legal immigration.
Didn't bother us any.
It was all right.
Yep.
It was all right. Well, but I just wanted to let you know that if you do come to one of them, that they're going to ask, they're not just rolling people up like that.
Right. No, I could tell it was very organized, and the people were way over on the side. It was very obvious who was in, who wasn't. It was really obvious. You know, Anastasia, I don't know if you've seen the video I made on I don't go to the Women's March because of that. Because it's not inclusive. It does not include transgender women. It does not fully include Black women, and it makes me sick, and I will not have a part of it. Because it's not a women's march, it's a white woman's march. So that's people say, why don't you go? No way. I won't be a part of something like that.
Exactly.
So
But that's the thing when we're talking about things, because their one issue is abortion. But a lot of Black women don't have abortions like that because, one, we don't have the money to do that. I'm talking about in an anecdotal way. I'm not saying that, you know, per capita, depending on per capita, what the numbers you bring in, but they don't have the money to do that, you know? And so when we're talking about, that's not our issue. Our issue is, okay, I'm having this baby. I have nothing to feed it. You don't want to let me get birth control. And if I do get birth control, I got to pay extra on my insurance for the birth control.
Right.
And now the way these laws are, where they're making it where birth control is like they're trying to conflate it with an abortion.
Right. It's ridiculous.
It's like
very ascientific.
You know.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I'll let you go. I just wanted to make sure you knew that. So if you ever come to DC and we have a Moral Monday, trust me, it's okay. We're going to go down there, take the metro, protest, do what we need to do, get some snacks, and then come home.
I would absolutely do it in a heartbeat. It sounds awesome. I mean, I was wishing I was there. I really was.
All right.
Thank you so much, Anastasia.
I'll be listening to you, okay?
Okay. Sounds great. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye. I love when she calls in. She's wonderful. And actually, we're going to do on Friday, we're going to do a couple of videos. Let me get to some comments. Thank you so much for calling in. Always just absolutely wonderful. I know, me too, T. She's great. She is great. We should all meet down in DC. I don't know how close everyone is. I'm not that close, but I'll do what it takes. Excellent. I could tell it was extremely controlled. Very, very controlled. The police looked bored, but I felt like there should be thousands and thousands of people. I thought that was a lot of arrests, and I get it, and it was great, but I wanted there to be thousands and thousands, because I wouldn't be shocked if every one of those demands that I just read off was, if not a majority of America would want them, only a few that would be close. I mean, some of these things, see, we're not running our country. I don't know if we ever have been, but we have this oligarchy running our country. And there are things, many things that everybody agrees on, and we don't have them. And so we're not running our nation. This is not of the people, by the people, for the people. This is of the corporations, for the corporations, by the money of the corporations. And it's unacceptable. And it might be too late. I don't know. Let me take some comments and we'll move on, because I was going to make it a short show tonight, but I'm having so much fun with everybody. Let me back up. Oh my gosh. Mr. FS Black. Biden told his rich donors that nothing would fundamentally change if elected, and he was right. No eviction moratorium, no minimum wage hike, and no consequences for Trump officials either. Zero change. Yeah, I'm becoming very frustrated with it. I thought they did a 2 months addition to the no eviction. I thought they did that just like a day ago. But yeah, I thought we would be able to pass things, and it's not happening, and we're not passing basic things that need to be passed. Yeah, I understand. I feel your disappointment. I still think he's better than having in the office, but it's really frustrating. Excellent comment. I am sure a lot of us would absolutely agree. Haru, the Duke of Great White reward for racism is chemtrails. You're gonna have to explain that one. I'm not 100% sure. Not sure about that one, but white reward is fake food. You're gonna have to explain that one too. Oh my gosh. Thanks, Anastasia. You're so sweet. The reward of racism is Nazi men experimenting on women. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's some sick shit. Yep. Yeah, and Anastasia, I know a lot of people are working. Monday is a tough day. I just want so much support for this. I get it. I do get it, but I don't think it was advertised and on media like it should be. I thought it should be all over the place, and I really couldn't find it that much. I had some trouble finding it, so I'm just saying. But thank you. Right, thank you, Anastasia, for telling us your experience, and that's awesome that you were there. The video I put together, I put up on here, and I tried to take like a little bit of experience from each of the parts of it, and then Roland Martin also, I got him commentating a bit, but it was like I had my whole family gathered around, listening, watching, and it was really amazing. I think everyone needs to see it. Very special. All right, so let me just jump in here. So I posted the Poor People's Campaign stuff. I think we did that. Another video I posted this week, Simone Biles needing to drop out of some of her events. People were horrific. They were incredibly horrific. The far right was especially obnoxious and cruel. Their commentaries regarding her choices are none of their fucking business. Sorry. Oops, I swore. They don't know her. They don't know her personally. They don't know her circumstances. How dare they be judgmental like that? I put up a couple funny things on my Facebook of like, really, and I hate to even say it, but I posted it. A giant, big old stereotypical hateful white man with a big belly and beer on his belly watching Simone on TV saying, yeah, suck it up, lady. And it's like, please, seriously? It's like, we are all humans, for the love of God. Enough with the judgmental crap. And like when people say, well, it's being judgmental to say they're judgmental. Well, you know what? Saying that somebody murdered somebody, is that being a murderer? Saying someone's a molester or a rapist, is that being a rapist? No. Stop it already. I get that a lot, so I figured I'd just jump in there. But I was so proud of Simone because it takes a lot to do that. Absolutely. And people forget when people are world-class athletes, okay, especially in gymnastics and some of the more dangerous sports. We don't think probably nowadays of gymnastics as dangerous, but Oh, back in my day when I know somebody who was paralyzed for life, quadriplegic, because of gymnastics. Actually know the person. So don't even go there, people, with all the criticisms. It is an extremely dangerous sport if your head's not in the game. And at this level, oh my God. So yes. Let me back it up here. Okay, we have people working on Monday who can't afford it. T, I felt the same way. Is she's got to ignore all the haters. That's incredible. Anastasia, but if every low-wage worker went on strike, the world would stop. Absolutely. It happened during lockdowns, and then they were called essential workers. But when they demand more money, those people said, why do they deserve more money? If they want more money, get another job. Total hypocrisy. Amen to that. Absolutely. It's rhetoric is used against them. Rhetoric is used when we need them. It's ridiculous. We are all humans for the love of God. This nation is a wealthy nation. And we act like it isn't. And the wealthiest people who run it are cashing in. And everyone else is going down. And you know what? Eventually, it's going to implode. But I would like to actually be the one to say, this needs to stop. Okay? We absolutely could have afforded easily to keep everybody with an income through and gotten us through COVID and kept us at home. That was our doing. A lot of countries did do stuff like that. I know I was in touch with some people from Taiwan, okay? China, but Taiwan, and they never closed down. I don't know what they're doing now because I'm out of touch, but they didn't close down because they didn't have to, because they did everything right. They kept everybody with enough to make it through. And the way I look at it is, if not then when would we use our own tax money to get it back so that we could make ends meet and ride it out through the COVID virus? I just don't get it. Let me see. I wish every low wage worker could go and just, fantastic point. T, they get their judgmental mixed up with they get their judgmental attitudes mixed up with telling the truth. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I really saw some nasty stuff, and I was just like, seriously? That's just pure jealousy. Pure jealousy. They're jealous. Like, well, if I was you would never be out because you wouldn't lift a finger. You probably can't run a lap around the track without huffing and puffing. So, I mean, people are just sanctimonious and obnoxious. Let me tell you, I've had to quit jobs because of my mental health, and to take time off of dangerous sport is admirable. Absolutely. I mean, I'm not kidding. When I know somebody who was a gymnast when she was younger, when I was like in middle school, and she is paraplegic now. It is not, it's a very dangerous sport. They can be safe, but your mental health is no. There's too much. I don't even know a lot about it, and I know a little bit. Anastasia, this is not about sportsmanship or dedication. This is about Black women saying no. White people aren't used to Black people, especially Black women, taking care of ourselves first. Secondly, we are their entertainment. Who are we as the help to be their entertainment? Who are we as the help to want to be mentally healthy or seen as an entire person, right? Who are we as, right, exactly. And you know what? Somebody put it really well on my, not my YouTube, but maybe it was my YouTube, gosh, or it was my Facebook page. They said, white Americans look at Simone Biles like they own her. And I was like, but yep. That's those kind of comments were the comments I was just cringing about. Like, who are these people? How dare they judge? And when they have never walked even close, I mean, to being in her shoes, they have no idea what it takes to be a world, a world athlete. It's incredible. People are just obnoxious. And I know those right wing people were just doing it to be obnoxious, and they were. Congratulations. I mean, in my mind, anyone can be obnoxious. It takes a real person, to have empathy and to care and to have a heart. Anyone can be obnoxious. I promise you. I've seen it all. Takes practically nothing. What it really takes to, and so it's incredible. Yeah, I think you're right. Anastasia, you are spot on. T. White America has always done this with Black folks, especially those who are well-known entertainers. Oh yeah. We're your own. It's like you're the entertainment. It's like saying, shut up and play basketball. Shut up and play football. Obnoxious. And that is one of the reasons why people in the stands of football, when Colin Kaepernick dared to stand up or to kneel for the human rights and the ending of police abuse and murder with impunity of our fellow humans, white football fans were pissed because they just want to be entertained. They don't want to actually, what Anastasia said, think of Black and brown people as humans. And that really bothered them because, you see, we made them, when Colin Kaepernick decided to kneel silently, they couldn't help but see what he was doing. And that made them really upset because then they had to think about it and focus on it. And they didn't want to. They just want to watch and get entertained. And that's disgusting. So excellent points, Anastasia. Let me see. She's a pet to them. She's like the teacup dog that they've given treats to, stand on their hind legs, and she took their bragging rights of American imperialism. Or absolutely, they don't give a flying what about her as a human. They want to care about her as something that can give them something, and it's disgusting. We are, Anastasia, we are video games to white America. Yep, I absolutely. Let me just back up. They had more outrage over this than when young women were sexually assaulted by their coach. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, that was okay because get over it, right? But oh no. When they actually stand up and say, I matter, I need to do this for my own sanity or whatever. Right. They're, oh my God, this cannot happen. I think it speaks volumes about our culture of white supremacy, just volumes. Let me see. Back it up. Yep. The minute we take time to care about our own needs, we are like broken little robots. Yep. Yeah. There's such incredible points you guys are making. From the beginning of time, we have done this, shut up, work, and keep us comfortable. That's it. Keep us comfortable. We don't want to have to think about that stuff. We don't want to have to think about you as human. And you know what? That's disgusting. That's disgusting. And that's really what it is. I'm sorry to say I agree 100%. Jamie, so sorry to relate. Did you see the video I sent you on how Mexicans forced to take gasoline baths naked on the U.S. border? Yes, I did. And as Jamie, thank you so much for being here. And as we discussed, I am going to try to start incorporating a lot of the things. I heard somebody today say that they were referencing the murders in El Paso because it was close to the anniversary of the murders in El Paso, where people of Mexican heritage and American Mexican Americans and others were shot at and brutally murdered and maimed. And the person said, the person who did this, they said they felt like the Mexican people were taking over their country. Well, that really hit me hard because you know what? It shouldn't be their country, and they have every right to. It's just, I don't want to get into the history, but I do want to start explaining this kind of thing because honestly, we're ignorant about it. White folks are ignorant about our own racial history in every regard, not just African American, Black people, Indigenous people, Mexican. We're just ignorant. It's what we do. You know, it's what we do. Let me just jump on in here. T. Yep, Anastasia, about video games. I always say cartoon characters. Yep. Brett, welcome. Thanks for being here. Let me see here. Anastasia, look at the German team in the bikinis, and they were fined for not wanting to be basically naked. So this is all about control. Absolutely. That was just in 2021. Oh my God. How incredibly obnoxious. It's, it's funny, right when you start thinking, that things like maybe we're making progress, it's like stuff like that. It's just unbelievable. But yeah, great points. Brett, why do Mexicans hate blacks more than racist white people? I have absolutely no idea. I don't know if that's actually true or not. It's hard to measure. But one thing I can say is people who are brown and black and white as well, obviously, are not immune to our huge cultural push of systemic racism, the white supremacy. And there's colorism is real and alive and real. So we are not immune just because, you might be a person who's black or a person of color. It does not mean, did you see the video I put up this week of the kids, teenagers in India on, what's it on Instagram? God, I'm blank. I always get them all mixed up. Instagram, India. They had basically a blackface filter. You could turn somebody into another race, and kids were doing it, and it was incredibly sad. But also the kids from India were also coming down on them too. So, there were it was interesting to see both, but I put a video up on that and it didn't get a lot of hits. They had to pull it from the Instagram, from in India, because the kids were using it for racism and colorism. It was really, really sad. And there is a billion, trillion, gazillion dollar market for whitening agents on people's precious skin. So this is all really real, and it impacts everybody. It's just, some people are more prone to it. Like obviously white folks fall right into it, depending on where you live. So I have no answers for you, Brett, but it's an excellent question. It's really, really sad. White folks are indoctrinated, but so are black and brown folks sometimes. I hope I'm wrong. Let me back up. You said, it's really, really sad. Anastasia, Texas was Mexico. Right, exactly. It's like, what? Jamie, right, Shepard, you are, okay. Oh, you're talking to me. Mexicans and black people have a history of helping each other. You know what? I think it just depends what you've read and what you haven't read. I know that whenever groups come close and start to unite, the wealthiest elites, who are mostly white, get very, very nervous. And so you might both be right, because what happens is they'll do whatever it takes. The only thing that the wealthiest elites who run our nation and are getting rich off racism need to do is to make sure that we never unite as one voting bloc against them. Other than that, they're pretty safe. So, you might both be right, actually. I'm not Mexican, but colorism happens in their own country, and it's not about fighting for the top, but fighting not to be on the bottom. It's just really, really rough stuff. This is all over the world, and at one time we were considered a world leader, and I think we've done a really crappy job with regards to humanism. I say we get an F+, which is better than an F-. I don't know, because we could be the world leader in what it looks like to be good to our fellow humans. But no, too much greed. Brett, I'm hoping I'm wrong, but right, yeah, right now there is nobody that can escape the impact of our culture of white supremacy. White is right. White is right. It's beamed into our heads at birth, even if you're not a white person. Like I said, when I was born in a hospital many, many years ago, first person I saw was probably a white male doctor. Next person was probably a white female nurse. Next person was probably a person of color who was a custodial help or in bringing me food. Okay, I was a baby, I nursed, but don't even go there. You get the point. This is how the indoctrination begins at birth. Okay? So, and it's for all of us. Tribalism, absolutely. Yeah. Great comments from everybody. I'm gonna need to wrap up our show tonight because I promised I would end early. When they created white supremacy, they were particular about this. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anastasia. Again, the elites will throw crumbs at one group to cause dissent. Absolutely. The Civil War, Bacon's Rebellion, the Rwanda genocide, issues in Haiti. Yeah, we are being played. I mean, just think of during the Civil War, when they did the New York draft. I always bring up the New York draft. No. I get, I hear you. I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. When they did the New York draft, rich people, the rich, wealthy owners could buy their way out of being drafted. Well, guess what? A lot of the black folks that were around then weren't citizens, so they didn't get drafted. Guess what? The lowest people on the totem pole for, hope that's not a racist thing to say on the totem pole. Please forgive me if it is, but the lowest people in the ranks were Irish immigrants. And they lost it because, it's because our government sets us up to be against each other. And they did a fine job at that. And the race massacre of that year, I can't remember the exact year, it was towards the end of the Civil War in New York City, was huge. And it was intentional. Yep. It's intentional. We're being played. So on that note, unfortunately, I cannot continue going over all the videos that I did put up, but if you want to check them out, I would be thrilled. And that some of the topics we're going to do for tonight are actually up in some of the videos I just posted up. Durante Martin, it's been determined that he didn't commit suicide. His family was right. It was ruled that it was not a suicide, and thank God they'll be looking into that. And the Missouri governor pardoning the racist people who pulled their guns on a Black Lives Matter peaceful march, pardoning them, but will not pardon a man that has been imprisoned for much of his life, who was found innocent. It's really scary. And I'm going to put a little bit about that. In fact, there are 3 people in Missouri right now. I'm jumping around because I'm going to have to end the show, but I want to get this in. 3 people in Missouri right now, Kevin Strickland, Christopher Dunn, and Lamar Johnson. They all have something in common, and that's that they've been in Missouri prisons for decades in their prison system, and they are all maintain their innocence, and their cases, the conviction cases, have fallen apart, yet they are still behind bars. And that is unconscionable. And then we have the Missouri mayor. Wouldn't want to pardon one of them, but oh no, he pardons those 2 gun-toting, wealthy 60-somethings, Patricia and Mark McCloskey. He pardons them. And they held guns out to peaceful protesters walking by because they wanted to go to the then, let me see here, St. Louis Mayor Crewson, who decided that they would make public the names of people who supported police reform. So a Black Lives Matter group walked peacefully into the neighborhood, and these 2 dingbats pull out their weapons, and they get in trouble, and he pardons them. So, yet he will not pardon a black man who was found innocent, whose life has been taken and destroyed by being in prison. So we got issues. This country has issues. You do not need me to tell you. I cannot thank you enough for being here tonight. If you feel like I do, that it is way past time for white America and people in other numerical majority groups to educate ourselves, learn a little bit about people who don't look like you, learn a little bit about people who don't think like you, people who don't pray like you, people who do different things than you, then please consider subscribing to my channel and getting people to come to watch the live show. So I keep doing it. And thanks for being here, everybody. Amazing conversation because of you guys, as usual. Thank you so much. Thank you, T. Thank you, Anastasia. And let me just go over everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Brett, if you're still here. And let me see. T, Brett, Jamie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody adds to this, and it makes it so incredibly amazing. So, and thank you, Haru, the Duke of the Great Lakes. I asked you a lot of questions tonight, so feel free to contact me with your answers if you can. I'd love to listen. And Mr. FS Black, thank you for being here. And I know I'm skipping people, but please know how much I appreciate you being here. Okay, so don't be a stranger, and if you support what I do, please try to share my stuff around. I'd really appreciate it. All right. Good night, everybody, and please stay safe, because I don't think things are going to be getting much better before they get a little bit worse. So, all right. Good night, everybody.